new day dawns, and with it the start of the greatest drama of the Masai Mara. The first wildebeest reached the river region. Behind them is an 800-kilometer energy-draining migration. It's far greener here than in the overgrazed Serengeti. In the Masai Mara, the rain and drought periods are less extreme than in the southern Serengeti. Heavy thunderstorms keep ensuring a supply of fresh water, which benefits the green vegetation. Before the animals embark on the most difficult part of their journey, crossing the river, they enjoy a rest and take the edge off their hunger. They specialize in short grass. It replenishes itself relatively quickly, but is grazed to nothing in a short time, which is why these animals keep searching for new pastures. Their broad mouths, large incisors, and mobile lips make them the perfect lawn mowers. For some, though, the luscious green came too late, and it doesn't take long before they're discovered. For the vultures, wildebeest that die of exhaustion are a feast. Ruppel's vultures specialize in large carrion, such as wildebeest. The marabou may be larger than them, but the vulture's sharp curved beaks are far superior, both as meat cutting tools and weapons. These feathered scavengers do not like sharing. Some are so involved in infighting they forget to eat. But these quarrelsome creatures provide an important service to the Masai Mara. By stripping carcasses, often right down to the bare bones, they prevent the spread of epidemic diseases. When they're not fighting, Ruppel's vultures can devour as much as a fifth of their own body weight in one sitting. That can be 1 to 2 kilograms. Having eaten their fill, they find taking off a bit cumbersome. Together with the first wildebeest, we see many zebras arriving in the Masai Mara. Zebras eat the longer, tougher grass, which opens up the way for the wildebeest to get to the shorter grass that's rich in nutrients. As compensation, the enormous herds of wildebeest provide protection for the zebras against attackers. It's normally the zebras that go down to the river first. And they have been waiting for this moment. Crocodiles know from experience where the animals will cross the river. Driven by thirst, the exhausted travelers make their way to the water. As long as the crocs are moving, they will be detected in good time. The lions have also taken up their positions and have already had a successful hunt. But it's not enough for the full pride. The lions know exactly which points on the river are the easiest for the zebras and wildebeest to cross. While some of the lionesses keep a watchful eye on the young, others are closely watching out for the arrivals by the river. The lionesses, mostly mothers and daughters, sisters, aunts and nieces, form the hunting party. Crocodiles may not be quite as social, but later they will need each other as well. More and more wildebeest gather on the opposite bank. They're facing the greatest challenge of their long journey. The steep banks alone that line the Mara in many places are hard to overcome. But the wildebeest have no choice. Down by the river, the life-saving herd becomes a liability. Hundreds of animals push their way forwards, leaving no opportunity for escape. The underwater hunters are on their way. There is simply no end to this sumptuous meal. The wildebeest are well aware of the dangers, but they have to get through. The river literally puts obstacles in their way, and those rocks are often deceptively slippery. Once the first animals have dared to enter the water, there's nowhere to go but forward. The crocodiles try to attack the open flanks. If they get too close to the thick of it, they're at risk themselves. Now the wildebeest have to run the gauntlet. They have managed to reach the safety of the bank. But some didn't make it. The wildebeest summon their last reserves of strength. Their ability to leap is their only chance. The safety of the individual lies in the sheer mass of the herd. But the crocodiles are not alone. Once one of them has grabbed a wildebeest, it attempts to drag it underwater. The other crocodiles will help. Each bite has the force of 2,000 kilos. Crocodiles are merciless opponents. And the animals that pass the first hurdle are faced with the next ambush. The lion attempts to immobilize the wildebeest by biting into its throat. Even if they survive the river, they can still be trampled underfoot. The youngest wildebeest, born only a few months before in the Serengeti, are experiencing this terrifying migration for the first time. They need to get back up to strength. But the trek must go on. Driven on by the stressful experience, the animals quickly take control of their new terrain. This large-scale partnership of convenience will now separate into smaller herds until it's time to return to the Serengeti in 2 months' time, following well-trodden ancestral paths. The Battle of the Mara is over for the time being, and the vultures will finish what the crocodiles could not. They're still living in the lap of a rare luxury. Even if a crocodile didn't manage to kill its own wildebeest, there are plenty of fallen and drowned animals floating right past their noses. After a few days, the carcasses are easier for the crocodiles to tear apart than freshly killed ones. Despite their armory of teeth, crocodiles can't bite off bits of their prey. They have to rip them to pieces by shaking them from side to side. Even though they cooperated in the hunt, they do not like sharing. For the lions, the riverside hunt is now over. But the pride had a successful hunting trip. There's plenty for everyone, and even the chance for the youngsters to practice dismembering the kill. And practicing the fatal bite to the throat. For the youngest, it's all just a game. Their teeth are not yet powerful enough to tear the skin. They still need the adults for that. A full stomach feels good. Both the adults and their young feel playful. But this unconcerned rollicking can't last long. The adult lions know that if they leave the carcasses unattended for long, there will soon be nothing left. So they drag them to a safe larder, a tough task even for a fully grown lioness. Hunting and eating are thirsty work. Lions do not scoop up water with their tongues. The rough surface of the tongue binds the drops of water, and that causes a pillar of water to follow through the adhesive action between the water molecules. The surface area of the Masai Mara is a mere tenth of the size of the Serengeti. And yet it provides sufficient food for both the new arrivals and the long-established indigents. Most of the steppe zebras and wildebeest are migrants. These common cesabe live here permanently. The males like to stand on raised hummocks to keep an eye on their territory and their females. Since both sexes look very similar, the females often copy this behavior to confuse male intruders. Giraffes have an even better view of the surroundings, which is why zebras like to stay close to the giraffes. In the searing midday heat, every unnecessary movement is avoided. Even the jackal can't summon the energy to hunt. The hyenas are no different. Despite their reputation, hyenas are not merely dim scavengers. These youngsters will grow up into skilled hunters, capable of attacking even large hoofed animals such as wildebeest or zebras, individually or as a pack. But that time is still some way off. Mother hyenas suckle their young for a year, longer than most other hunters. Hyenas live in clans, controlled by the females, and with a clearly defined hierarchy. The mother will pass her role on to her cub. Common tsessebi are the preferred prey of hyenas, but not in the merciless midday heat. Nevertheless, even after the Great Migration, the drama of life and death is replayed over and over again in the Masai Mara. An African buffalo has died and has not yet been discovered by scavengers. Its companions try to protect it, and it looks as if all of them feel the need to reassure themselves that their fellow buffalo really is dead. The herd is looking confused and disorientated. Perhaps the dead animal was a dominant, mature female. Related cows form a group with a very strict hierarchy. If a high-ranking animal dies, the herd first has to reorganize itself. The saddle-billed stork is also a carrion eater, but has to wait until others have ripped open the carcass. The young tawny eagle is much better equipped. As pure vegetarians, elephants are most definitely not interested in carrion. In contrast to popular belief, however, they do not only eat leaves. In the savannah, they eat almost exclusively grass, and lots of it. An adult elephant will devour 200 to 300 kilograms of vegetation a day. They eat for as much as 17 hours a day, but this does not stop them having a little tiff. Even the babies try to work out how Mummy does it. But this little one has chosen the wrong place. Despite gorging themselves in this way, the adolescents need a long time before they're fully grown. Not until they are 20 years old are the bulls in a position to take on other competitors. The herd is not alone. The rare hook-lipped rhinoceros is known to be one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. This herd of elephants is relatively vulnerable because of the young calves. They're not able to run away very fast. The aggressive rhinoceros bull considers the elephants to be a threat. But the lead cow wastes no time and is ready to protect her herd. Even a rhinoceros is unlikely to take on a 3-ton heavyweight. The herd relaxes again. The younger ones are practicing contests for later life. But they're back in someone's sights again. The cows remain unperturbed. The young are safe as long as they are close. As usual, working out what a useful tool the trunk is fun. However peaceful the scene may appear to be, the elephants face an uncertain future. Poachers are still keen on killing these majestic animals for their tusks. Every year, the population of African elephants drops by 8%. Close to the Mara River, there are many smaller woodland areas, and the impalas love to retreat to these places. One story higher up, an Anubis baboon keeps a watchful eye. On the ground, its fellow baboons are searching for titbits. The baboons dig in the ground for insects and roots. To be able to ride piggyback, an infant has to be at least 6 weeks old. Until then, the babies cling to their mother's furry underbelly. And once they are a year old, they have to fend for themselves. At an age of around 3 months, the young begin to take an interest in each other and play together. The watchman issues a warning. The lion has no chance. The strong males hold their posts until the danger has passed, ready at a moment's notice to attack if their harem is jeopardized. He is a far more dangerous risk for the baboons. Leopards attack from an ambush. The martial eagle has already found its prey. It's still too hot for the leopard. Big cats do not go hunting until dusk. But they are already being watched. Raptors often stay close to larger hunters because there's a good chance that a successful hunt will leave something for them. But it's looking as if they will have to wait a bit. Or will they? No, this leopard has a rather different aim. He uses a secretion from an anal gland to mark out his territory. The powerful smell is a clear warning to rivals. Keep your distance. The black-backed jackals did not want to wait any longer. But they're having a tough time keeping those annoying vultures at bay. The moderately sized hunters are clearly outnumbered by the vultures, and a fair amount of their freshly replaced energy gets used up again. Even a successful hunt in the Masai Mara does not mean that the spoils are all one's own. Frequently, the jackals will have to relinquish their hard-won carcass to larger hunters like lions and hyenas. Jackals, leopards, lions, cheetahs, they all make sure that the life and death drama here is a continuous daily cycle. Each of them has its own way to play the game, and each produces a slightly different, often unexpected result. But none of them plays the game in the same dramatic and unusual way as these animals. They're waiting for the day when, once again, they play the leading role in the greatest drama of the Masai Mara. The day the wildebeest crossed the river. Until that day, there will always be more modest roles to play. Whether the prey is big or small, the director's instructions are always the same. Has this yellow-billed stork not noticed the living tree trunk? Or is that tree trunk still full up from its last wildebeest supper? Whichever way it goes, there's permanent tension in the air. And whatever happens, the result is not known in advance.